The singers can go on about their hammer and their anvil, sir, but it was the kinslayer who turned the tide with a white arrow and a black spell, Sir Eustace Osgrey, to Duncan the Tall, the sworn sword. All four sons of King Daeron II are important to the history of Westeros in their own ways, and for very different reasons. But Baelor and Maekar Targaryen stand out amongst their siblings and peers of the time, given their fates and reputation are intrinsically tied together. They are each such an important part of each other's legacy, from their actions during the First Blackfyre Rebellion to the tourney grounds at Ashford Meadow. These two men would change the course of history in Westeros in a way few could have predicted or foreseen at the time, some for good, some for ill. Much like many things in Westeros, the truth of the matter is rarely ever black and white. Baelor Targaryen was born in the year 170 AC, the firstborn son of King Daeron II and Queen Maria Martell, the sister of the Prince of Dorne. In a way, his birth symbolised the union between House Targaryen and House Martell, strengthening the ties between the Iron Throne and Dorne, certainly being a factor into the imminent Dornish unification with the Iron Throne, with the marriage of Princess Daenerys, Baelor's aunt, to the Prince of Dorne, Maron Martell. From a very early age, Baelor was regarded as the future of the realm, being his father's heir, raised with an expectation and responsibilities benefiting a prince destined to rule. Following the deaths of his grandfather, King Aegon IV Targaryen, Aegon the Unworthy, in 184 AC, Baelor became the acknowledged heir to the Iron Throne. In recognition of this status, his father Daeron would grant him the traditional title of Prince of Dragonstone, which has always been held by the heir to the Iron Throne. As heir, Baelor was increasingly present at court and in matters of state, where he earned a reputation for seriousness, discipline, and a strong sense of honour, a good combination you want to see in your future king. In 187 AC, at the age of just 17, Baelor earned his famed nickname, Breakspear, after a celebrated performance at the tourney held for the wedding of his aunt Princess Daenerys to the Prince of Dorne. During the final tilt, Baelor faced Daemon Blackfyre, the bastard-born half-brother of his father King Daeron II, and a widely renowned tourney knight with his martial prowess. Baelor's decisive victory over Daemon shocked many of the spectators and brought him immediate fame across the Seven Kingdoms, cementing his reputation as one of the most promising young knights of his generation and establishing his place in the annals of Westerosi history. The loss for Daemon was twice as bitter, given his supposed love for Daenerys, whom some believe he wished to crown the Queen of Love and Beauty if he'd won the tourney. Few could doubt that Baelor Breakspear would be a great king, for he was the heart of chivalry and the soul of wisdom, and came to serve his father most ably as hand. The writings of Maester Yandel, the world of ice and fire, the Targaryen kings, Daeron II. Prince Baelor had the dark hair of his mother, Maria Martell, the Dornish princess, a trait that set him apart of his Valyrian-featured kin. He wore his hair cut short and kept his jaw clean shaven, favouring a practical, martial appearance over courtly ornamentation. His nose had been broken several times, on many occasions, visible marks of a life spent in the lists and on the battlefield, rather than in idle luxury, as one would expect for a Targaryen prince. A seasoned warrior in both tourney and real battlefield, Baelor appeared to embody all that might be desired in a knight, a lord, an heir to the Iron Throne. He earned the respect of those around him with little effort, carrying himself with confidence, discipline, and natural authority. Like his father, King Daeron II, Baelor was known for his open-handed generosity and strong sense of justice, balancing firmness with mercy. He was also noted for his treatment of his defeated foes, often extending clemency where others might have sought vengeance. Despite these virtues, Baelor's physical appearance and Dornish heritage drew murmurs from some quarters. His dark hair and eyes led certain men to whisper that he was more of a Martell than a Targaryen, reflecting lingering prejudice against Dornish influence at court, especially among the Marcher lords, who had been fighting Dornish raiders for thousands of years. The other faction to take issue with Baelor would be among the Blackfyre sympathizers. Resentment was further fueled by his name, which invoked Baelor the Blessed, who's widely remembered as the feeblest king ever to sit the Iron Throne. To such men, Prince Baelor's very name became a symbol of what they despised, regardless of his undeniable strength and worth. Maekar Targaryen was the fourth and youngest son of King Daeron and Queen Maria Martell. As a younger prince, he was granted the Targaryen seat of Summerhall, from which he took the title Prince of Summerhall. However, it is unclear how much time he actually spent at the Targaryen Summer Palace. Though never expected to inherit the Iron Throne, Maekar was raised to serve the realm through arms and duty rather than diplomacy, and he quickly developed a reputation as a stern and disciplined man. A capable and resolute military commander, Maekar distinguished himself during 2 of the Blackfyre Rebellions, where he led royal forces in defense of his father's rule. His service in these conflicts earned him respect among soldiers and commanders alike, as well as a reputation for harsh efficiency and unyielding resolve. Though he often was overshadowed by his elder brothers in matters of court and succession, Maekar proved himself a loyal son of House Targaryen and a formidable warrior in his own right. Thickly built and broad-shouldered, Prince Maekar was a physically powerful man. He possessed the unmistakable trademarks of his Valyrian heritage, with violet eyes and his straight hair and square-cut beard, silver in colour, shot through with slight hints of gold, giving him a severe and imposing appearance. His cheeks were marked by pox scars, which only added to the harshness of his features, and the impressions of a man shaped by hardship rather than courtly refinement. In temperament, Maekar was known to be prickly and impatient, a man quick to judgment, and quicker still to condemn. Stern by nature, he lacked the easy charm and natural charisma of his elder brother Baelor, and struggled to win friends easily or cultivate allies. Where Baelor inspired loyalty through respect and warmth, Maekar ruled through authority and discipline. As he got older, Maekar's disposition hardened further, and he became even more unforgiving, carrying the weight of some of his actions for the remainder of his life. Prince Maekar bore a personal coat of arms, distinct from many of the main Targaryen line, a quartered sigil featuring the 3-headed dragon of House Targaryen. It's often common for sons low down on the line of succession to create these personal arms as a way of standing out among their siblings, and they became very common during the latter half of Targaryen rule of Westeros, post-Dance of the Dragons. In dress, he's said to have favoured austere martial garb. Beneath a heavy black cloak with a basic trim, he wore leather, studded with silver. His battle armour was adorned with black, curved dragon's teeth along the shoulders and down his back, echoed by similar dragon's teeth forming the crest of his helm. In combat itself, Maekar wielded a massive spiked mace, a weapon suited to his strength and uncompromising style of warfare. As a 4th son, Maekar was not expected to hold any positions of power. He married young to Lady Diana Dane, and had 4 sons and 2 daughters, Daeron, Aerion, Aemon, Daela, Aegon and Rhae. The 4th son, not as bold as Prince Baelor, not as clever as Prince Aerys, not as gentle as Prince Rhaegal, and now he must suffer seeing his own sons overshadowed by his brothers, Ryman Fossaway to Duncan the Tall, the Hedge Knight. While both Baelor and Maekar were well respected prior to the First Blackfyre Rebellion, it would be their teamwork and deeds during the Civil War against Daemon Blackfyre and his supporters, especially during the Battle of the Redgrass Field, that would write their names into legend for all time. The Blackfyre Rebellion is an interesting point in the history of Westeros, because for such an important and monumental event that changed the very course of history and set a path to the events we see in the main books, we surprisingly know very little about it. We know why it happened, we have a vague idea of the scale and some of the key events, and of course, we really get to see and understand its aftermath through the tales of Dunk and Egg. The only part of the war we have any real true depth of detail about is its final battle, the one that would effectively decide the victor of it, the Red Dragon or the Black. Of course, we are talking about the Battle of the Redgrass Field, fought in 196 AC. The battle that would see Baelor and Maekar's names become the stuff of song, always to be remembered in the minds of all in Westeros. The Targaryen loyalist army and the Blackfyre rebels collided on an unnamed field somewhere near King's Landing. Some speculate it could perhaps be to the southwest, near the borders of the Reach and Stormlands with the Crownlands. For the rebels, a Lord Costain was on the left of Daemon Blackfyre's host, while Lord Shawnee was on the right side, accompanied by Aegor Rivers, who was better known as Bittersteel, one of the Great Bastards, and one of Daemon Blackfyre's biggest and most loyal supporters. Lord Leo Tyrell, one of King Daeron's most powerful supporters, did not arrive in time for the decisive battle, drastically impacting the numbers for the Loyalists. All accounts we have of the battle say that Daemon was unstoppable that day, cutting Lord Donald Arryn's vanguard to pieces, slaying Will Waynwood and the Knight of Nine Stars, before coming up against Sir Gawain Corbray of the Kingsguard. A famous fight would take place between the two, with Valyrian steel swords, with Daemon wielding Blackfyre and Gawain using Lady Forlorn, before Daemon managed to severely injure his opponent, leaving him blinded and bleeding. Daemon paused then to make sure no injury came to Sir Gawain, ordering his men to carry Gawain back to the maesters in the rear of the Blackfyre army, an act even Daemon's biggest foes would deem as truly honourable. By that time, however, Brynden Rivers, known as Bloodraven, another of the Great Bastards, and feared spymaster of House Targaryen, and his company of men, the Raven's Teeth, a group of skilled archers, crested the Weeping Ridge, gaining the high ground from where he showered Daemon's position with hundreds of arrows. Bloodraven spied Daemon's banner and slew the elder of his twin sons, Aegon, knowing that Daemon would never leave his son on the field, and then pierced Daemon with 7 shafts, killing him. The younger twin, Aemon, picked up Blackfyre when his father fell, and Bloodraven slew him too. With the leaders fallen, the rebel army began to rout, until Bittersteel, Aegor Rivers, who had commanded the right at the beginning of the battle, was able to turn that rout into a mad charge at the enemy. He personally fought a great duel with Bloodraven, taking out his half-brother's eye during the fight, while Baelor Breakspear attacked the rebel army from the rear with a host of Stormlanders and Dornishmen. Maekar rallied what few remained of Lord Donald Arryn's vanguard, creating an unyielding shield wall, an anvil, against which the rebels were hammered and destroyed, and the battle was won for the Loyalists. Later, a song about the hammer and the anvil was made about the battle, where Baelor cast as the hammer and Maekar the anvil. In the Winds of Winter sample chapters, Sir Barristan Selmy and his troops of Meereen attacked the armies of the Yunkai in the Battle of Fire. Near the end of the battle, Barristan learns that the ships of House Greyjoy have arrived in the bay, and the Iron Men are coming ashore to fight the Yunkish. Barristan gleefully exclaims, "It's like Baelor Breakspear and Prince Maekar, the hammer and the anvil. We have them, we have them." So even after the downfall of House Targaryen, in the city of Meereen, half a world away, the legacy of the brothers is remembered. It seems that sometime after the Redgrass Field, Baelor was named hand of the king and protector of the realm, and his reputation and respect among the lords and smallfolk only grew as a result. Everyone agreed the realm would one day be in safe hands under Baelor, who would become one of the most universally beloved sons of House Targaryen for generations. Maekar, on the other hand, while he too received much praise and renown for his role as the Anvil, felt unappreciated, and some say he was even becoming very bitter and resentful. It is said that Maekar believed the victory at the Redgrass Field was more attributed to his elder brother, Baelor, his uncle, Brynden Rivers, and of course the errors of Daemon Blackfyre and Bittersteel, rather than his personal efforts. But it seems this issue went much deeper for Maekar, whom felt in other things in life. He also stood in the shadow of his brothers being the 4th son, thus his actions at the Redgrass Field being overlooked in favour of Baelor wounded his pride. Regardless of how Maekar may or may not have felt, it should be recalled that the song sung of the Redgrass Field is about both the hammer and the anvil, both Maekar and Baelor, and the actions of both brothers are spoken of with great esteem centuries later. and as we know from events that transpire, Maekar Targaryen would in time step out of his brother's shadow, but the pair will always be intrinsically linked thanks to the songs and legends in which they are remembered.